when you look at that, is it right that all restrictions should be lifted on July the 19th? Are we ready?
Well, we'll wait for the Prime Minister's formal announcement later, but you would have seen the Health Secretary, I think, interviewed over the weekend saying that he was optimistic we were on track for that step 4, which would see the removal of legal restrictions on people. But what it wouldn't do is remove guidance. So there will still be guidance in place, and we would urge caution and the innate common sense of the British people around things like mask wearing. But why now? If not now, when? We're at a position now where the vaccination programme is our defensive wall against this virus, and it's proving hugely effective. We're coming into summer.
It's when more people are vaccinated. If you can wait just another month, because looking at a poll, there's a poll in the Observer that said 50% of people they asked said the date should be pushed back. They just want another month for more people to be vaccinated. That, they say, is the time, not now.
Well, what I'd say to that, Sarah Jane, a couple of things. Firstly, we're up to, I think, around 86% of first jabs and up to just shy of 66% of people having, of adults having second jabs. I'd also highlight what Chris Whitty, the Chief Medical Officer, said last week, I think it was, which is if you delayed now, even to do more vaccinations, you wouldn't necessarily avoid the hospitalisations and sadly, the small number of deaths that we will see potentially increasing at this time. You would simply postpone that. And therefore, as we go into summer with schools going into summer holidays, with the warmer weather when we can be outside, coupled with, if you look at the infection rates, last time we had infection rates around this number back in January. At the moment, I think we've got a 7-day rolling average of about 378 people admitted to hospital. Back then, it was a rolling average of about 1,800 admitted to hospital with a similar level of infection rate. So what you're seeing is that we may not have 100% severed it, but we have, by and large, we've massively weakened that link between the virus and hospitalisations, and that's a key point here. That's why we think that the tests, the 4 tests, look like we are on target to meet them, and the Prime Minister will say a little bit more about that later today.
About action, when are the government going to get tough on racism on social media?
Well, you're absolutely right, Sarah Jane. It was a hugely disappointing result, but what wasn't disappointing was the phenomenal performance our national team has put up throughout this tournament, cheering and bringing together our nation after a very tough year. And they are all, as the Prime Minister said, they are all heroes. They're a young side, and I know they'll be back even stronger than ever. But what really is disappointing, as you've said, is the appalling online racist abuse that we've seen members of that team suffer. There's no place for that in sport. There's no place for that in our country. And I think it's absolutely right that the Met Police have said they're investigating those posts and those possible offences that have been committed. And I very much hope they do so swiftly and as appropriate, take action against those who've put up these appalling tweets, these appalling social media messages. Those who've done this cannot claim to be true fans of the sport.
You say it has no place, and of course it doesn't, but it always manages to find a place. I know the Metropolitan Police are investigating, as you would expect them to, but what are the government going to do? Because the Prime Minister tweeting is one thing, but people want action. People don't want their heroes abused in this way online.
Well, one of the things you'll be aware of, Sarah Jane, is we're bringing forward at the moment measures in our online harms bill to strengthen how internet platforms, social media platforms behave and their responsibilities to take action against this sort of behaviour. Further strengthening, as I say, the police are already investigating, so they're already looking into possible offences committed here. But what we're doing is moving forward with that, and I've already been in touch this morning with the Culture Secretary about this. And I know that he shares my disappointment and horror, really, at the way people have behaved at this moment. But sadly, it's something that happens all too often on social media to our sporting heroes, but to many others. And it's right that with the legislation we're bringing forward, we further strengthen the regime to tackle it.
Not many police in sight. A lot of people are saying there was a real failure on security about something we knew was going to be one of the biggest sporting occasions in the country's history. Are you going to investigate that?
Well, I think the police did a fantastic job, actually, and sadly we saw a number of police officers, as I understand it, injured last night, and I think there have been 45 arrests made so far, and action will be taken against those who perpetrated these offences, who broke the rules and broke the law. The police did, I think, a fantastic job. They know what they're doing. They know how to operationally police events. It's sad when a very small number of people, a tiny minority, bring the sport into disrepute by trying to do something like this. And again, I'd say they are not reflective of the fans of our national game and of our national team. The police will take, I know, all action necessary against those who have been arrested where they can prove an offence has been committed.